How often do you think about what makes up the products you use? Detergents and cleaners, medications, sunscreens, cosmetics, clothing, and cookware are all items we use frequently, even every day, but many contain chemicals that are classified as contaminants of emerging concern. These are chemicals and toxins that have been found in waterways that may present ecological or human health impacts, yet are not currently regulated in any major way. Many are toxic to aquatic life or can bioaccumulate in the food chain. This can eventually reach us through the food or water that we consume. In the past, most people were not concerned about the fate of chemical compounds, industrial pollutants, and human byproducts entering our waterways. The old mantra was, dilution is the solution to pollution. We now know that many of these chemicals can be toxic even in small quantities and remain at detectable levels in water itself, underwater sediments, aquatic insects, fish, and other organisms. Some of these chemicals even remain at detectable levels in us. One study by the CDC found PFAS in blood samples in 97% of those surveyed. PFAS, per- and polyfluorinated substances, are one example of a contaminant of emerging concern. But there are more. There are chemicals such as bisphenol A, 1,4-dioxane, and trichloropropane, medications such as sulfamethoxazole and carbamazepine, and metals such as tungsten. While these examples present differing levels of danger to us and the environment, they are not supposed to be in our water, and so their presence alone is concerning. How does contamination occur? There are both industrial and consumer sources of contamination. Industrial sources include many harsh chemicals, solvents, and other manufacturing materials, as well as the products they manufacture for our consumption. Consumer sources include items such as personal products like soaps, cosmetics, sunscreen, and clothing, and cleaning products like detergents and antimicrobials. From the sources, there are a few different pathways for these chemicals to enter waterways. There is direct disposal, where the product is dumped into water through a drain or into a body of water directly. There is indirect disposal, where products enter wastewater streams incidentally. For example, washing clothing made from polyester may introduce microplastics into the water, or washing nonstick cookware may introduce PFAS. The final way is through excretion. Taking medication or supplements means that we'll eventually pass them in some form into wastewater, which will eventually circulate through the water supply. Currently, there is no single method to remove all contaminants from our water. Our current wastewater treatment methods were not designed for these contaminants, which are often large, complex, and at low concentrations. New strategies are needed to address contamination, but their structures and properties are too vast to cover in just one wastewater management strategy. Reverse osmosis and nanofiltration membranes have shown success in removing targeted contaminants in some studies, but that doesn't include everything. Work still needs to be done in this area to reduce exposure and clean up our water. How can we help combat this issue? First, in many communities, there are pharmaceutical return programs where drugs are collected to be properly disposed of. This is a much better option than throwing medications out where they could leak or dumping them down the drain. We can also be more mindful of the products we use and how we dispose of them. For example, using mineral sunscreen over chemical ones, or using stainless steel, glass, or ceramic cookware over nonstick. If you aren't sure of how to properly dispose of a product, it's best to look online or on the label for insight. You can also look for this label from the EPA, which can be found on 2,500 plus products and indicates safer products for the environment. Finally, to address the fact that these compounds are in use in the first place, we can call for local, state, and national governments and governing bodies to put our health and the health of the environment first and regulate these products. That way we can move towards ensuring cleaning water for all in the future.